Hey, my uke-loving friends, welcome to level 2 of fingerpicking. If you loved the first fingerpicking series, I have some new terms, concepts, and patterns to share with you right now. So get yourself tuned up and let's get to it. Hey, before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and click that alert bell so you know when the next video is coming your way. If you're interested in more learning resources, head over to AllForUke.com where we have a full searchable library of songs, song sheets, practice tracks, worksheets, and more. All for you, AllForUke.com. So first things first, let's talk about our fingerpicking hand and how we are going to assign names to our fingers. So in level 1, I know that we used TH to talk about our thumb, but I thought to keep things consistent with fingerpicking, it would be good to label everything as it is with classical guitar and many uke practices. The first finger that we need to talk about is our thumb, and that will always be labeled with the letter P. P as in Peter. So our thumb will be P. Our index finger is easy. That will remain the same. That is going to be labeled as I. Our middle finger will be labeled as M. And then we're going to talk about a fourth finger in this series too, so I know you're excited about that. We're going to talk about our ring finger, and that is labeled with the letter A. So in this series, we're going to have a few patterns that do use all four fingers. So this is going to be a new concept and really cool. It's going to open things up for your playing. So just a little quick review here. P, I, M, A, and that's how I'll be talking about these fingers throughout the series. So now that we know our finger names, let's take a second to do a little bit of a review here on our playing posture and our hand position. So playing posture-wise, you want to make sure that you're sitting up nice and straight. The body of the uke is cradled up against your torso here. 45-degree angle, the headstock should be right up around your shoulder level. And with your finger-picking hand here, we want a nice cup shape with our hand here over the sound hole of the instrument. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll take my pinky and I'll marry it here to the body of the instrument. So that's going to prop my hand up here in this nice cup shape as I go, because keeping this cup shape intact allows my fingers to kind of pull into my palm. If my hand is too flat, I end up having to kind of turn my hand up to make these finger picking strokes, and I want my finger picking strokes to just be nice and short, succinct, and I want to be able to just pull my fingers into my palm. So this is why you want this nice cup shape. And what having the pinky on the body of the uke does is it stabilizes your hand so you don't have a bunch of hand movement and you don't have your hand popping off of the instrument. You want everything to be nice and close so that when you grab those strings, you can just make those nice, sweet, short strokes here on the uke. So we're in our good finger picking playing position here. We have our hand nice and stabilized. Now we're going to lay our fingers on the strings. So I take my thumb, I lay it on the top string here, the G string. I have my index finger on the C string, my middle finger on the E string, and my ring finger now down here on the A string. So I can kind of grab all of these strings. My thumb is sitting on the top of the string. My other fingers are sitting underneath the string. So my fingers are going to pull up always when I'm using my index, middle, and ring. And with my thumb, it's always going to be a downstroke. So that's a quick review of the playing position and hand position for finger picking. The moment we've all been waiting for, a new finger picking pattern here. So let's check out the pattern called the alternate claw pattern. In the first series, we talked about the claw pattern, which is where we take our thumb and we put it on the C string and we pluck down. And then with our index and middle finger, I and M, paired together, we pull up on the E and A strings simultaneously. I'm pulling my fingers just with a small movement, and I'm using my middle knuckle here to pull my fingers in. I'm not taking my whole hand and gripping it in there. I'm just making a nice short movement with my fingertips to pull those into my palm. So as we count this, and if we had a metronome on, we would count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, because this is an alternate pattern, we're going to mix it up a little bit here. So we have thumb going down on the C string first, and then fingers, followed by thumb on the G string, hence the alternate, and then up with the fingers again. So if we do this nice and slow, we have thumb, fingers, thumb on the G string, fingers. So we count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So while you're doing this, I think you should pay close attention to your finger picking hand. So it's easy to kind of drift off, get distracted when you're playing, and especially when you're finger picking. So when you're learning a new pattern, I always like to really pay attention to my finger picking hand. Now, this is not something that I do always when I'm finger picking, but when I'm learning the new pattern, I want to pay attention to my fingertips, making sure my thumb is at a nice parallel angle here to the strings, and my fingers are perpendicular to the strings so they can pull in, and my thumb is able to go down. I don't want my thumb kind of arched up here, and I don't want my fingers in a position where they're going to kind of lift. Everything should be nice and stable here. Go nice and slow, really focus on accuracy, doing it the same way every time, keeping that volume nice and even. Hey, Kevin here. Exciting news for you guys. I have a new offering. I've partnered with a company called Zip to offer one-to-one performance coaching. All that means is you submit a video to me with your questions, concerns on the uke. I submit a video back to you with tips, tricks, and some exercises to help you get through those little mogul hills. I'll leave a link in the description below for you to sign up. Let's have some fun together. So now that we have our pattern, we're going to incorporate a chord with our fretting hand. So I like to start off with just a single chord, so I can still keep most of my focus here on my finger picking hand, but now I'm starting to hear a little bit of music happening. So we're just going to take a C major chord, ring finger here, 3rd fret of the A string, and we're going to count this pattern. So here we go with a 4 count in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. While you're doing this, you can start getting used to looking at your fretting hand as you're finger picking. Start trusting your finger picking hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So now I'm going to put the metronome on so that we can actually have a very consistent rhythm. Because when we finger pick, our tempo can vary based on our mood, how we're feeling. The metronome keeps everything the same every time, so you can really lock into that tempo. So here we go at 70 BPMs. I'll give us a nice 4 count in. Stay nice and relaxed for this. Focus on your finger picking. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Keep the thumb on the beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. After you've spent a little time working with the metronome, now you can start to incorporate some chord progressions. You can take chord progressions you've already played before from songs, or you can learn some new ones. So we're going to take a chord progression here in the key of C. We'll start with our C major chord, 3rd fret of the A string, down to C major 7, 2nd fret of the A string, C7, which we'll use our index finger on the A string 1st fret, and then we'll finish it off with an F major chord here. So we'll play the pattern, and I'll just demonstrate this before we get the metronome going. So we'll do 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and switch, 2 and 3 and 4 and switch, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So that's what we'll use with the metronome at 70 beats per minute. And now with a nice 4 count in, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and switch, 2 and 3 and 4 and switch, and 2 and 3 and 4 and switch, and 3 and 4 again, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and one more time. Keep smiling, you're playing the uke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. We made it through day 1. Thank you so much for joining me. I put together a free worksheet at AllForUke.com with some different chord progressions that you can use to work on this finger picking pattern. So jump over there and check that out when you get a chance. If you have any questions about today's lessons, please leave them in the comments. I love hearing from you guys. How did you feel about this lesson? Do you want to see more finger picking lessons? Well, you're in luck. You're going to see a lot more finger picking lessons. My name is Kevin. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Let's get